Chosen one, pause for a moment and listen with your spirit, not just your ears. This message did not arrive by accident, and you did not press play by chance. What you are hearing right now is being released with intention from heaven. Time matters in this moment, not because God is rushed, but because alignment is required. There are moments when God speaks gently, and there are moments when he speaks urgently because something in the spirit is about to shift. This is one of those moments. What makes this critical is not fear, and it is not pressure. It is divine timing colliding with awareness. You are standing inside a window that does not announce itself loudly, yet carries weight far beyond what it appears to hold. Heaven is not speaking casually. God is not whispering aimlessly. This word carries precision. It carries assignment. It carries responsibility. You have felt it already even before these words reached you. That sudden pause inside you, that sense of something is different right now, that was not anxiety, that was not curiosity, that was the Spirit signaling you to stop and pay attention. There are moments God protects by speaking early and moments he releases only when someone is ready to respond without delay. This message belongs to that category. It is not meant for everyone. It is meant for those who can sense timing, those who recognize when a moment is fragile and obedience matters. What makes this moment dangerous is not ignorance. It is familiarity. You already know this feeling. You have felt the nudge before. You have sensed the pull. And you also know how easy it is to delay, to say later, to let distraction steal what was meant to awaken you. Windows in the spirit do not stay open indefinitely. They are invitations, not guarantees. They do not close loudly. Nothing crashes, nothing breaks. The moment simply passes, and later you realize clarity faded, momentum slowed, and something shifted quietly without explanation. That is why awareness matters now more than emotion. Before we go any further, if your spirit confirms this word, respond. Let this moment mark a decision, like this message as a sign of agreement. Subscribe so you remain connected to what heaven is releasing next. Drop your city and nation in the comments as a declaration that you are present and attentive. And to those who support this work through giving, understand this deeply. You are not just contributing, you are partnering. Your seed is a prophetic yes. It says, God, I am listening when others hesitate. And I pray that heaven marks your obedience with clarity, protection, and favor. Now stay with me. Do not multitask. Do not scroll. Because what follows explains why this window exists and what heaven is testing in this moment. God did not allow you to hear this later for a reason. This is not about minutes on a clock. It is about recognizing when a moment carries weight beyond its appearance. Some moments are ordinary and some are appointed. This is an appointed moment. In Scripture, God often spoke when time felt tight, not because he was late, but because destiny was near. Urgency in the kingdom is never panic. It is precision. God speaks sharply when alignment must happen quickly and when delay would cost more than obedience. Think about how often God moved when people were forced to choose. Elijah stood before a nation and demanded a decision because hesitation had become disobedience. Esther stood before a king when silence felt safer than obedience, yet she understood that some opportunities do not repeat. Jesus called life from Lazarus while death still appeared dominant, requiring belief before evidence. God does not wait for comfort before he calls for response. He calls when alignment is possible and hearts are exposed. And now here you are. This may not look dramatic. There may be no visible sign confirming its importance. But internally, something is stirring. That stirring is not imagination. It is awareness being activated. These moments often feel quiet on the outside and intense on the inside. They test whether you will respond to what you sense rather than what you see. Awareness without response does not preserve opportunity. That is why this message is urgent, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Destiny is close. Timing is sensitive. And heaven is inviting you to respond while the window is still open. This moment is not built on fear, and it is not driven by pressure. It is rooted in understanding. Understanding that some moments carry a weight that cannot be postponed without consequence. This is not about rushing or forcing anything. It is about recognizing when God is inviting alignment while clarity is available. Many people miss divine moments not because they reject them, but because they underestimate them. They assume they will feel more ready later, more confident later, more certain later. But later is not always promised in the same way. Windows in the spirit are moments of access, and access is not permanent by default. Throughout Scripture, urgency appears whenever destiny is near. God speaks with precision when alignment must happen quickly. Not because he is anxious, but because delay would cost growth, direction, or positioning. Urgency in the kingdom is never chaos, it is clarity. When God calls for response, it is not to overwhelm but to focus. He removes distractions so alignment can happen without confusion. That is what is happening now. Heaven is narrowing your focus so you can see what matters most. Think about how often God required a response before conditions improved. Elijah did not wait for the people to feel comfortable before calling them to choose. Hesitation itself had become disobedience. Esther did not wait for certainty before stepping into risk. She understood that obedience sometimes precedes safety. Jesus called Lazarus forth while the stone was still in place and death still looked final. Faith was required before evidence appeared. In each case, God acted when belief was required, not after everything made sense. This pattern reveals something important. God often speaks when evidence is incomplete. He speaks when feelings are uncertain. He speaks when comfort is unavailable. Because obedience rooted in awareness is stronger than obedience rooted in emotion. If obedience waits for confidence, it may never happen. That is why God calls for response when awareness is present, even if understanding is still forming. What you are experiencing internally right now is not random. That restlessness, that quiet pressure, that sense that something is forming beneath the surface is awareness awakening. It does not come with fireworks. It comes with a nudge, and that nudge is easy to ignore if you are waiting for something louder. Many people miss their moment because they expect divine movement to always be dramatic. But some of the most important moments in life pass quietly, requiring discernment rather than excitement. Spiritual windows often close without announcement. Nothing collapses, life continues. But something shifts internally, momentum fades. Clarity dulls, direction feels harder to grasp. And later, people wonder why they feel disconnected from what once felt near. That is why awareness must be matched with response. Awareness alone does not preserve opportunity. Response does. This message is not asking you to feel something. It is inviting you to decide something. Feelings fluctuate. Awareness informs. Decisions anchor. When you respond in moments like this, you align yourself with what God is doing rather than what you are feeling. That alignment creates movement even when emotion lags behind. This is also where hope becomes important. Not surface-level optimism, but biblical hope. Biblical hope is not denial of difficulty. It acknowledges reality and still chooses to stand. It is not built on outcomes or timelines. It is anchored in who God is. Scripture says hope does not disappoint because it is rooted in God's faithfulness, not human consistency or visible progress. Every delay you have experienced did not cancel your calling. Delay refines expectation. It deepens trust. What felt slow was often protective. What felt late was precise. God does not miss moments. He establishes them. Closed doors were not rejection. Some closed because they would have restricted you. Others closed because you were outgrowing what once fit. God closes doors to redirect, refine, and reposition, not to discard. Silence did not mean abandonment. Silence is often strategy. God does not stop working when he stops speaking. Some of his most important work happens beneath the surface where it cannot be rushed or explained. Roots are forming where eyes cannot see. Strength is being built where applause cannot reach. God develops depth before display, stability before exposure, and endurance before influence. This is why this moment matters. It is not dramatic, but it is formative. It is not loud, but it is decisive. What you choose to do with this awareness will shape how the next season unfolds. Heaven is not pressuring you. Heaven is inviting you to align while clarity is present. inviting you to respond while the window is open. Because destiny is not far, timing is sensitive, and awareness has been activated for a reason. What you are carrying right now is heavier than it looks, and it deserves to be understood, not dismissed. Many chosen ones walk through seasons where emotions feel layered and difficult to explain. You may not be able to name exactly what you feel, but you know something is shifting inside you. This is not confusion without purpose. It is transition forming beneath the surface. When God is preparing someone for more, comfort often decreases before clarity increases. That internal tension you feel is not weakness. It is evidence that something in you is being stretched beyond what it has carried before. You may feel tired, yet unable to quit. There are moments when your body wants rest, your emotions want relief, but something deeper keeps you moving forward. That force is not stubbornness, it is conviction. It is strength being drawn from a place deeper than feeling. You may feel disappointed, yet you still believe. Hurt has touched you, but it has not killed your hope. You still pray, you still expect God to move. That tension between pain and belief is not failure, it is resilience. Comfort does not wrestle with destiny, but calling does. When God's hand is on a life, there is often an internal pull between where you are and where you are meant to be. Scripture reveals a consistent pattern. Before elevation comes confrontation. Before clarity comes testing. Before breakthrough comes pressure. Nothing of lasting value is formed without resistance. Pressure is not proof that something is wrong. It is proof that formation is happening. Diamonds are not formed in ease. Gold is not refined in comfort. If you are feeling pressure, it is because purpose is pressing back. You are not breaking. You are being shaped. Look closely at how God chose people throughout Scripture. Moses was called while hiding, tending sheep, and running from his past. God revealed himself not in Moses' confidence, but in his obscurity. David was chosen while overlooked, forgotten by his own family. Others were examined while he was ignored. Yet being overlooked by people never disqualifies someone God has chosen. Gideon was chosen while doubting, questioning both God and himself. God addressed him by what he would become, not by what he feared. Mary was chosen while unknown, with no platform or recognition. Haven did not wait for visibility before assigning responsibility. Peter was chosen while inconsistent and impulsive. God does not recruit based on perfection. He calls based on willingness and future capacity. This reveals an important truth. God does not wait for readiness before he calls. He calls people while they are becoming. Calling is not the reward for completion. It is the catalyst for transformation. Obedience comes before confidence. Strength follows action, not the other way around. If you are waiting to feel ready before moving, you will remain stuck. Readiness is produced by obedience, not preparation alone. Testing often scares people, but testing in God's kingdom is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to reveal you. When Abraham was tested, faith was revealed. When Joseph was tested, character was revealed. When Job was tested, endurance was revealed. Testing separates who you are becoming from who you used to be. You are not being tested to fail. You are being tested to step into another level of responsibility and influence. Much of this battle happens in the mind. Scripture says, as a person thinks in their heart, so they become. Faith begins in the mind. Fear begins in the mind. Hope begins in the mind. That is why discouragement often starts as a thought before it becomes a feeling. But your mind can be renewed. Patterns can be broken. Perspective can be restored. You do not have to live with a defeated mindset. This moment is retraining how you see yourself, your past, and your future. One of the most common lies chosen ones believe is that they are running out of time. But God is not limited by time. Joseph moved from prison to palace in one day after years of waiting. Moses led a nation at 80. Jesus completed his assignment in 3 years. When God decides to move, speed follows preparation. What looks like delay is often divine sequencing. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are positioned. If quitting has been whispering to you, it is not because you are weak, it is because you are close. Resistance increases near purpose. Storms intensify near shores. The enemy fights hardest when breakthrough is near. Waiting does not mean stagnation. Waiting means trusting while continuing to move. God renews strength through exchange. He takes weakness and gives endurance. He takes confusion and gives clarity. He takes fear and gives courage. You are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You are not finished. God is still shaping you. He is still calling you forward. This moment is not the end of your story. It is a turning point. Lift your head. Strengthen your heart. Align your mind. Hope is alive. Help is near. But if you are still here, still listening, still believing, then your story is not over. It is unfolding exactly as it should.